Well, hello everyone. Welcome to Timsy's Naked Tarots and welcome to Signs on Sunday. Okay, Dreams and Signs on Sunday, I suppose. I've retitled it because I deal with dreams as well as the signs. Yes, as you can see, I'm in my Raiders top. So if you are from America, I'm sorry, I'm a Raiders supporter. Why don't you drop in the comments what football team, soccer team, baseball team, hockey team, sporting team you support? And we can have a little chat about that. Okay, signs on Sunday. We are doing feathers. It is the obvious one, I know, but it wasn't the one I was going to do originally. Originally, I had settled on flags. I'd gone through flowers, flags, ferrets, and I was deliberately avoiding feathers because, well, feathers is quite a big sign, and there is a lot to do with feathers. Okay. And I was also deliberately avoiding feathers because other people have done feathers in the past and talked about them on their channels. I was all cruising, all lovely. I'd even written out all my bits about flags and various different things that flags can mean. Obviously, you've got your red flags and your green flags. Don't go there, do go there, whatever. But yesterday, when I was at work, Saturday, I was at work and I found feathers everywhere. Everywhere I went Saturday morning, all I done was found feathers. And I thought, I need to do feathers. So I done feathers, and that is what the thumbnail is. It's a collection, or just a few of some of the feathers I found throughout Saturday. Okay, so that's that bit cleared out. I've cleared up why we are doing feathers and not flags or anything else I may have thought of beforehand. Now, I'd also like to point out signs are individual to you, the individual. Yeah, what you see as a sign, I might not see as a sign, and I can say the same about tarot reads. Okay, yes, when we are doing tarot reads on YouTube, me and other viewers, other readers will quite often say a lot of maybes, possiblies. This may happen, could happen, and all that. But it's because everyone who is watching the video is an individual. Now, you all may be dealing with the same energy, okay? You all may be dealing with an Ace of Cups, for example, a cup of love. Now, imagine that cup of love is a shopping, or no, let's imagine, let's change that. Let's say it's a Ten of Pentacles, okay? You have just been given a load of money and they said, do what you want with it. Okay, I don't want it anymore. I'm going to be dying soon. You might as well spend it, enjoy yourself with it instead of me taking it to the grave with me. Okay, so you've now got yourself, I don't know, £1,000, $1,000, 1,000 yen, whatever your currency is. There you go, there's the first one. Whatever your currency is, we're all in different countries. We all have different ways of life. Okay, so the second one. So we've all now got £1,000. Okay, well, I might take half of that, put it in my savings, and spend the other half on my rent for the week or for the month. Oh, fucking hell, if it's £500 a week, I won't be able to live here. And I would want more than what I've got. But yeah, so I'd put the other half towards my rent. Okay, so I've got half and half. Lovely, jubbly. Now, you, the viewer, might go on a shopping spree, buy a new TV, new stereo system, new Hoover. Okay, someone else might put it all towards a car. Someone else might put all that money towards a holiday. Someone else might go to the bookies and blow it all in half an hour on 2 horse races. The list is endless, and that is why us readers on YouTube have a lot of maybes, possibles, could be's. Okay, because each and every read is individual to the viewer, but it is a general read. The cards I get, the cards I see, I will quite often look at them after I've done the read and take it on my personal life and say, well, okay, this could be this happening and that happening. Okay, I take all the big things out of the card reads and it is my week. Okay, because at the end of the day, the star signs, although are associated to tarot cards, are not actually attached to tarot cards. You get the Chariot, doesn't mean there is a Cancer coming for you. It doesn't mean that you are dealing with a Cancer, okay? It could, but not always. So, and it also depends on the questions you ask, what cards come around them, and the things like that. If I was shuffling the deck and I asked, who's my twin flame soulmate person for the rest of my life going to be, shuffled them, and a Chariot came out, I might see that as a Cancer. Okay? Not necessarily though. So anyway, let's get on with the read about signs. They are all individual to you. What you see in a sign is not necessarily what everyone else sees in the sign. And so across many cultures, feathers have always been part of spiritual understanding. They're connected to the divine. They're connected to the spiritual world, flight and freedom. So there are our first 4 things feathers mean when you find feathers. Yeah, the divine, God, source, the universe, whatever you believe in. Spiritual connection. They're coming from, to all intents and purposes, to us, another world. Yeah, we can't fly naturally. The sky is a totally separate realm to the land. And you can take that principle to the sea. We can swim, but we can't do it as well as creatures which are born and raised in the seas, rivers, lakes. So it's a foreign world to us. It's not a separate world, it's a foreign world. So if you've got some sort of fish sign, yeah, it's coming from a different realm. It's still a different realm. It's just a realm we can visit. Okay, and now in modern technology, we can visit the sky realm as well, but we can't do it by ourselves. We need technology to help us do it. So there's a link to the spiritual world, and the spiritual world, in all intents and purposes, is just another realm. It's another plane of existence. Okay, there is freedom and flight as well. So there are first key things feathers indicate. It could be the first 4 things what pop into your head when you find a feather in an unexpected place. Now, for you skeptics out there, feathers, yes, they are everywhere. Okay, you find them all the time, all year round. You can find feathers. They fall off birds, just like fur falls off a dog. Okay, so they're numerous. They're everywhere. In fact, birds actually pluck their feathers out to line their nests. So at certain times of the year, you actually find a lot more of them. Okay, and after the nesting period, the birds actually shed their old feathers to make way for new feathers as well, because some birds have like plumage just for mating and things like that. Okay, and so yes, there are feathers everywhere, you skeptics. I totally agree with you on that, but the point is, you're in the right place at the right time to find that feather. Why you are thinking about that important question. Okay, and that's the first thing. When you find a feather, just throw your mind back to what you were thinking about on the approach to finding that feather. It's a confirmation of that's probably the right way to go about things. If you were thinking about doing this or doing that, if you were thinking about a person, it could be a confirmation that that is the right person. Now, obviously, the colour of your feather changes as well. So, for instance, just a quick gloss over this one. White feathers is apparently someone from the other side trying to communicate with you. And when I mean the other side, I mean that spiritual realm we talked about earlier. So think back to what you may have been asking yourself then, and your spirit guides are trying to tell you, yes, we're here backing you up. This is the right way to go. This is the wrong way to go. Something like that. Black ones is nobility, power, and death. Okay, so possibly if you were thinking about a person and how things are going with that person, and you find a black feather, yeah, let's just say, for example, a crow flies over and a black feather drops in front of you. It could have dropped anywhere. It dropped in front of you. That's the sign. Okay, skeptic. I know I've got some skeptics watching. Okay, I don't know. I feel I've got some skeptics watching on this particular video. So, yeah, the black feather. It could be a representation of their situation is dead. Drop it. Go somewhere else. It could be noble about this and wait for them to make the move. Okay, be chivalrous. You got blue feathers. Blue feathers are blessings coming your way, and so on and so on. So what you're thinking about, if you're thinking about, I don't know if I can afford my rent this month, then you, if my landlady's watching, don't worry, I can afford my rent this month. But if that is the case, it could be, yeah, a blessing's coming. Yes, you will be able to afford your rent this month because we are blessing you with something. You will, I don't know, have some sort of windfall somehow. Okay, so let's crack on with what else. So yeah, if you're in the right place at the right time, you find the feather. Okay, now if you should find the feather, as I was saying also in that bit, I've overlapped my 2 bits of notes there. You should think about your surroundings. Your surroundings may be important to why you find a feather there. Yeah, you could find a feather in the middle of a city. You could find a feather out in the woods. You could find a feather in your car. You could find a feather in your house. Now, it all has various different meanings to it as well. For example, if you find a feather in your car, how did the feather get in there? Chances are, skeptic, you stood on it when you had damp feet and then transported it into the car. Okay, but the point is, you found it in the car. Their feather don't be found in cars very often. Be found in cars? Fucking English, terrible. So, you find a feather in the car. Now think about your surroundings. I'm in a car. What could this mean? Yeah, think about the colour of the feather. Well, okay, what can that mean? And the best thing I can suggest you do on this is just go and Google all the different colours of the feathers, different breeds of feathers, breeds of birds, what drop the feathers. They can be all implicit to the meanings as well. For instance, if you find a peacock feather, which is doable, we have them in our country. They got imported probably right around the world at some point because the British Empire imported them and we had basically the known world in our hands at one point. But if you find a peacock feather, it's kind of exotic. It's away from its natural environment. Unless, of course, you are watching me from India and that sort of Asian area, then it is actually in the environment and it's quite a common thing for you to find. But still, if you find a peacock feather, it could be something exotic. And you just have to start thinking about the exotic lines. And you've got to think about the colours in a peacock feather. You've got blues, you've got greens, you've got purples. Purples is magic, by the way. It's always magic. So, getting back to it, you think about the environment you're in, it could jog your memory to what the feather could be implying the message to. The Native Americans. Okay, let's deal with the Native Americans. Yeah, the Indians. So, now, they used to adorn their weapons with feathers. So they used to have feather headdresses. They may still do. I don't know any Native Americans. Here you go, Native Americans. Drop your views on feathers. Why you put the feathers on various things. They use feathers for jewelry, and yes, a lot of this is just decorative stuff. You make your spear look pretty with a feather on. You make your earring look pretty with a feather on. You make your headdress out of feathers. Now, there is also spiritual meanings to them all. Now, like the ancient Norse may have inscribed their arrowheads with some sort of rune to give it the belief of true flight and to always hit its target. A feather might mean the same thing to a native Indian, a certain type of feather, let's say a hawk feather or an eagle feather, like a predatory bird feather where they swoop down out of the sky and catch their prey 9 times out of 10. Okay, so you put hawk feathers on your spear, your arrow, however you want to be fighting with. So it always hits its prey, it's always hitting its target. Okay, the headdress, the big headdresses that they wear. And again, if you are a Native American, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I read a lot of the feathers in the headdress are to do with thanks to the spirits of your ancestors for the bounties of the world. Okay, the fish in the rivers, lakes and seas, the bison grazing on the plains, the rain that feeds and fertilizes the ground and makes the crops grow, etc. Do I need to go on? Okay, so that is that. And sort of talking about other things from the Bible. There you go. I've done Native Americans. Let's go to Christians and the Western religions. From the Bible, feathers spoke of the ideas of protection and the loving of God, okay, or the loving care of God. And I will give you a quote. I found this quote and I thought it was quite nice. So, okay, he will cover you with his feathers, and under his wings you will find refuge. His truth is your shield and armor. Okay, that comes from Psalms 91:4. Okay, I've had to quote that. I'm sure there's probably some copyright somewhere. I don't want the Pope sending me out a nasty letter saying you used our text and you didn't acknowledge where you got it from. So, okay, so yes, someone else wrote that. It's not my quote. It's not anything I've said. I've just given credit where credit is due. But it talks of the protection. Under his wings, you will find refuge, shelter. Yeah. His truth will be your shield and your armor. Again, protection. And we talk about angels. We're now talking about like Christianity and all that. So angels are a big part of Christianity. They are they are depicted with having wings. And again, you could get feathers from those wings. Thus, where a lot of the spiritual side of messengers come from feathers. Okay. The ancient Egyptians in ancient Egypt, either way. The feathers were the symbol of the goddess of truth and justice. Okay. And I'm probably going to butcher the pronunciation of this because I don't speak current Egyptian or ancient Egyptian, but I think it is Matan or Mata. Okay. So the feather was that, and I think possibly you can even find an Egyptian hieroglyph which is a feather. Okay, so but the other thing from that sort of era, and I'm not sure if it was Egyptian or Greek or somewhere in between, but there is a whole thing about when you die and your soul was weighed against the feather. If your soul was heavier than the feather, you were deemed to have been bad and unjust, thus you would go to hell. And if your soul weighed less than the feather, you were deemed to be good and just, so you would go to heaven or the afterlife, because I'm pretty sure those ancient cultures didn't call it hell and heaven. That's more of a Christian thing. Okay, and again, I point out, I will talk about religion in all these signs and synchronicities videos I do. I will probably point it out in most of them. I am not a conventional religious person. I believe in the universe. I believe that possibly God was the universe. I believe that the universe might possibly be God. But I don't believe in an organized religion. I don't believe in Christianity, Judaism, Hinduism, Buddhism, because at some point in their history, they would have been corrupted by us greedy, selfish, arrogant humans. Okay, we have turned the writings of all religions to suit our needs when we need them to. I'm sure there is nothing in the Bible which told the Europeans to go and conquer the promised city, the promised land. I can't think of the name of the town, the city of where it is. I'm sure it begins with J, but let's just call it Bethlehem, because Bethlehem is in it, near it, around that area. Yeah, so we weren't commanded by God to go and do that. Okay? It weren't in the Bible. Just the same as in Islam, there is nothing in the Bible saying that they should go and kill themselves in the name of that God to take out the heathens. It's been manipulated. It's been turned to suit the needs of the people who want it turned and manipulated. I've probably now just got myself a bit of a red flag on this video for saying all that. So I may be having even less viewers than normal, but hell ho. There we go. Let's talk about some sayings with which have feathers in. Okay, my first saying is going to come from Shania Twain, of all people. Okay, and it pretty much says life is short and it can come and go like a feather on the wind. Okay, clearly she's pointedly talking about like you don't know when your time is up. Okay, you could just be whisked off at any time. Like a wind can just, like the feather can just be blown away on a breeze at any time. Okay, the other saying I have come across is from I'm going to probably butcher her surname. I'm not the best at reading, writing, or that. Okay, is Jessica Reen? I'll go for Reen. Jessica Reen. Okay, and she says, if feathers don't ruffle, nothing flies. Okay, and that's kind of meaning like if you don't ruffle some people's feathers from time to time, nothing gets done. Yeah, if everyone sits there in their happy place doing nothing, all being nice to everyone else, they just all get on with their little bit. They do as much as they possibly need to do, no more, no less, and then sit around and not do much. Now, obviously, again, some people are driven and they just keep going and going and going. And I'm sure I did actually come across a couple of sayings which were like that, about being driven, feathers driving people on, something about feathers on heels, making them move forward. My last little saying coming from this one is one I'm going to go into a little bit more depth. I don't know who said it. I couldn't find it in the big list of sayings I found. Yeah, but people quite often say, well, that's another feather in your cap. Okay, and that is just literally meaning you have learnt something new to put it in your mind for further use down the line. Okay, maybe I weren't going to go into that as deep as I thought I was, but it's, trust me, it's a lot more in my notes than just that, but I just summed it up. Okay, so feathers. Let's talk about feathers in general. White feathers, as I have already said, it's someone from the spiritual world trying to get in communication with you. So they could be dropping hints. Think about things that have happened recently to you just after you have found a random white feather. Have things been moving around your house? Have you been hearing unusual noises? Do you keep getting, let's call them invasive thoughts what don't quite seem to be your own, although they are happening in your brain? Now, this could be someone from the spiritual world trying to communicate to you, and because you are not open to it, or you are not spiritual in that sense or way, you are not accepting what is coming through. Your brain's hearing it, your brain's processing it, but your brain is there to protect you. Okay, so it's saying, it's not me. I didn't come up with that. I would ignore it. Okay, so the white feather is an indication that perhaps someone is trying to talk to you from the other side, give you some advice, guide you in some particular direction. Start to, I don't know, try a little meditation, open up, let the person in. But do this all with professional guidance. Okay, more professional than my guidance. Right. So black feathers, as I've already covered, death, power, nobility. Okay, regalness. For want of a better word. Grey feathers is a balance or compromise. Perhaps if you find a grey feather and you are, I don't know, torn between two particular issues, compromise on it. Okay, balance them out. Give your time to both, but not exclusively to one while excluding the other. Okay. It is also a sign of everything not being black or white, and white even. Yeah, there is a multiple of greys in between right and wrong. There is a multiple of greys between good and evil. Yeah, there is a multiple of greys between love and hate. Do I need to pick any more opposites? Right, okay. Brown feathers are safety, grounding, sort of being nurtured from the ground, the land, if you will, sort of like natural sort of things. Blue feathers, as I've covered, are blessings are coming for you. And red feathers are love and passion and fertility. Green feathers, very similar, strangely enough, to red feathers, but not so much the passion side, more of love, nurturing and fertility. Okay. Last little bit. Feathers in dreams. If you dream of feathers, they basically have the same meanings as if you actually find feathers in real life. If you dream of white feathers, grey feathers, black feathers, blue feathers, whatever colour the feather may be, it's the same sort of meaning. Now, with the dreams is you can get more detail from them. You find a feather in the street next to a bakery, it means something to someone somewhere. Okay, but you have a dream that you are given a blue feather to the baker in the bakery, it means you need to be giving them blessings. You need to be thanking them for their work and service. Okay, or something like that. Perhaps the baker is giving you a blue feather. They're giving you some sort of blessing. Next time you pass the bakery, stop in, buy something, and you will get spiritually blessed for it, etc. That was just a quick random one I pulled out. And just for those people who do like to give me messages but say perhaps, maybe, this, that, and the other. Yeah, perhaps it does, perhaps it doesn't. It depends on you, the individual, what you believe, and everything else around it. Okay, so before I sign off, I will just like to point out to all my new viewers who have been coming in recently, my new peoples, that yes, I will do personal reads. If you want one, email me. You can find it all over my YouTube, everywhere. It's in my main bit, it's in my videos. Just drop me a line and we would start discussing what we have to do. Do not be sucked in by anyone pretending to be me, saying, I will give you a tarot read for X amount. I will give you spiritual guidance for X amount, because I won't, okay? I don't do that. I'm not offering this out. I do all my tarot reads, all my spiritual work in my spare time. I have a full-time job. It's very monopolizing. Sometimes I'm working 60, 70 hours a week on it. Yeah, and I struggle to squeeze in my tarot reads for YouTube sometimes. So I'm not going to go out actually trying to sell my tarot reads to other people. Is yes, if you come to me, I will do it. If not, don't worry. Okay, so don't be sucked in by charlatans. I'm saying that, I'm a tarot reader. Lots of skeptics, yes, you out there, think I'm a charlatan. Okay, I'm just going to point something out to you. Yes, if you are a skeptic, if you think I'm a charlatan, or any other tarot reader is a charlatan, if you think we're just making up stories, okay, on YouTube, I do this without having any idea of who is going to watch it. So I can't react on people's reactions or anything like that. And if I am just making up a story, where did that story come from? How did that story pop into my head? I have a brilliant imagination, maybe. Yes, I might be able to just make up stories willy-nilly from random pictures of cards. Yes, we all could. But the question is, where did it come from? Especially when you start making up a story which isn't anything to do with your life, or your experiences, your personal beliefs. But yet it's still just flowing out of your mouth. Skeptic, be less skeptical. Open up a little bit. Accept that there's stuff you don't know. Science, or what science is the spiritual world we have learnt to understand, master, and harness. The rest of the spiritual world we don't understand, can't master, and can't harness. Well, we see it as magic. We see it as the spiritual world. We don't understand it. Science is just basically the category of, this is what we have learnt about the spiritual world. Okay? Alchemists, they mix things together. At one point, one alchemist finally mixed sulfur, saltpeter, and charcoal together and made gunpowder. Yeah? Beforehand, someone had accidentally mixed all these together, found out it goes bang when you throw it on fire, or makes a big flare when you throw it on fire, and then used that in their magic. Yeah, they were magic people, and eventually someone just done it. And when you think about astrology and tarot reads and things, it all stems from scientific-minded people. Now, one person didn't just wake up one day, look at the stars and say, I'm going to make up all this nonsense about the stars, where they are in the sky, where the planets are, how they all affect people. No, they sat there for years studying the sky. Probably they were just originally astrologers. Okay, but they started when they were writing down their notes, yeah, and they hear a commotion outside, and then the following year, around about the same time, or when they're the same planets and moons were in the positions they were writing their notes, and they heard a commotion outside. They start to find the similarities. They start to find the coincidences, and when a coincidence happens more than once, more than twice, more than 3 times, it actually becomes a pattern. Scientists, if scientists do an experiment and something unexpected happens, they will make a note of it. They will try to do the experiment again. Now, if that same thing happens, they will start looking into, why is that happening? Okay. Now, it shouldn't happen. By all my calculations, that should not happen. But it does. What's creating it to happen? Millions of things have been discovered this way, by mistake, by accident. Okay. Stop being so skeptical. Embrace life for a mystery, because that's what it is. You can't understand everything all the time. On that, I am signing off. Thank you very much. I hope you all have a wonderful week, month, year, depending on how long it takes for you to finally get back to me. Have a wonderful day, night, morning, evening, wherever you may be in the world when you are watching this video. Okay, that's Simon signing off.